Hi, guys. Welcome back to Reflect and Rise, the podcast where we talk about a little bit of everything, mainly about mental health, business, and parenting. You're here with your host, Damon.
And you're here with Melzy.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about mental health, mainly around the topics of social media, navigating social media, and then how to deal with triggers on social media, I guess, but more along the lines of how you can apply that to everyday situations as well.
Yeah.
So I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about is social media. Both of us have been pretty active on it for a while now, and everyone who's seeing this video has probably seen it linked from some sort of social media page as well. I'm pretty sure we covered it in another episode that I had a massive break from social media.
Yeah.
I think it was like a 2-year break. Massive cleanse. And the reason for that is because I don't have the knowledge that I'm about to share with you today. I think one of the big things that I had to deal with social media was the expectations around social media. The way you're supposed to handle yourself on social media, what people expect from you on social media, and how often you should be posting on social media. Now, this varies for a lot of people. This is going to be a different conversation for everyday users. This is going to be a different conversation for people who do it for business, or if they're doing it as an influencer.
Or they have a podcast.
Yes, or if they have a podcast. So, like everything we say in all of our episodes, it's just general advice. If you need something a little bit more specific to you, speak to the experts.
We're not professionals. I feel like we need a button for that.
Yeah.
We're not professionals.
What is it? Steam Deck? I have like all the little buttons on it. 100%. Not a professional button. So yeah, if you do want something a little bit more specific to you, speak to your professionals. But what I guess I would like to talk about is how technology has kind of changed from, when we were kids to now kids of this generation, especially considering, that we have young kids in our households, how it's going to affect them as well. I guess for me, I think about social media, and I didn't have my first social media account until I was about, I want to say 13. And that was Bebo.
Oh, Bebo.
Bebo days.
The days.
For everyone who was born like 1999 onwards, I'm going to assume. Wait, what year were you born again? I was about to say, yeah, after that, like 2000 onwards. Like if you're a 2000s baby, you probably don't know what Bebo is. It's probably a little bit before your time. You probably heard the term MySpace. It was in the same sort of vein as that. But Bebo was my first experience with it. And
same.
It was, for lack of better words, it was the tits. It was great.
It was so cool. Honestly, compared to everything these days.
You could literally like create a custom layout for your profile. You could set up your own skins, like wallpapers and stuff like that. Music playing when you walk, like when you first open the page. It was well ahead of its time, especially when you consider what you can do on Facebook these days. It's just a generic scrolling and stuff like that. But you used to have these things where it'd be like your best friends or like your top 9, and you used to be able to organize who was in your top 9. And I remember as a teen that would kind of rotate depending who was in whose good books, or if you had a close friend that was beefing with somebody else, then maybe you'd move them a little bit lower down your top 9. Did you have a Bebo?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And but I had it when I was like quite young, and I really didn't use it for what it was supposed to be used for. Because obviously Bebo was kind of like Facebook, it was like a blog kind of thing. But I honestly used it for music and to customize skins. And I was so wholesome because I had it when I was young. You know how like you had like your other half that you could do? It was always my mum. My mum was my other half, and it was so cute.
Yeah, I'm a slut. My other half was whoever I was seeing at the time.
Ooh.
Or one
Player,
of the
player,
boys.
player,
One of the
player.
boys. No. But that I think was my first experience with like social media and navigating social media, because it's weird. As a kid, remember, I was probably about, well, if you're 11, I would have been, 13, I think I said it was. I was 13 years old. Very, very, very moldable, if you will. And this was before people really started investigating the impacts of social media and like how it affects mental health. Like nowadays, you can have a look at any number of documentaries, and they'll go into details about why they make the chime sound the way they make it, or why they have big red dots coming up for your notifications. And it's all intentional, like psychological triggers to get you to stay in the app, basically. Dopamine triggers, exactly. And I think our generation was like the first generation that was really exposed to all of those dopamine triggers. And now in like 2022 onwards, we've started looking at the effects of it all. So back then, I remember we used to have used to be able to send love. And
Oh, yeah.
a love was literally, I think you were able to send like 3 a day or 4 a day. I think the only time that changed was on Valentine's Day when you could send like 10 love or something like that. But it became a metric, and
Yeah.
it became a way to kind of show people how popular you were or how loved you were. And high school days, we would just sit around and we'd look at each other's Bebo accounts and we'd see who had the most love, or we'd ask somebody to send us love.
one.
Yeah. Or there's a negative side of it, because if you were sending love out but not getting that love back from people, it's like love debt.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, why is this person not sending me love? Why is this person not, like, I sent them 3 love today, they would normally send it back. Why isn't that happening? And that for me was my very first experiences with like social media traps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you ever run into those sorts of issues, like with the loves?
Not as heavy, but like I get what you mean. But it was only like the only love traps I was set was just me and my friend competing. It was just only me and one other girl.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like I mean, we were too young for it to become super toxic, but it could have easily become that.
I suppose like you and your friend like doing your little love competition is very similar to like Snapchat and streaks.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, we got a 100-day streak. But back then, I don't think you could tally how many days.
How
you were
many
sending.
days? Yeah. But it was just.
But it was just nice to know that like you could just go to your wall and be like, yeah, I've had consistently getting love from this person, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't need it from anyone else. That's sweet. We were toxic. I remember there was this one time. Oh my God, this is so bad.
Talk about it.
It's so embarrassing. As an adult, this is so embarrassing.
We were children.
No,
we were
no.
children. It's okay.
Oh my God, like I look at 13.
I'm not going to judge you.
Much.
Too much. I won't do it too much.
13-year-old me was so cringe. 14-year-old me was cringe. Probably up until I was like 19, 21-year-old me, I think I was pretty cringe. But there was like this in-school fighting between a couple of chicks. And we were like best friends. Like, you know how like a lot of girls have like guy best friends and stuff like that. I was one of the posse of her guy best friends. And they were beefing, and she asked us all to go onto the chick's page that we were beefing with and delete all of the love we'd ever given her. It's like
That's an attack.
that is like such an affront to somebody's like popularity status to bring that love bar down. And I'm just like, I look back at it now and I'm like, what the fuck?
But that's the thing. It's crazy that was our metric that we based everything off. And it only has gotten worse with time.
my brain is going. Bebo was the first early adaptation of the Chinese credit score. It's
like the gateway drug.
It's like if you enjoyed Bebo and you loved the whole like system of it, you would be an excellent citizen of China. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we'll cancel that. We'll edit that out because I'll probably get flagged for that. But you're right. It was interesting. Like that was our metric back in the day. Who was in your top friends? How much love did you have? And that was it. It wasn't about looks back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't about looks. It wasn't about brand. It wasn't about, what you could bring to the table that made you unique. Because I think, back then, even when we had social media, our circles were still so small compared to what they are today. Like so small. Like I think when I had Bebo in the prime of my usage, right? I maybe had like 300 connections or something like that. And of those connections, most of them were people that were in my circle. Being school, very easy to have 100, 200 people on your network just from your grade, the grade above, and the grade below, randomly, right? Facebook, I'm capped out. I've got over 5,000 connections on my Facebook.
I don't even know how many I've got, but I know for a fact I don't know them all.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's 100% it as well. Like I've not met all 5,000 of these people, but do I have 5,000 friends on Facebook? Yeah. Why? No idea. I can honestly say that there was definitely a time when I was doing all my music stuff. So before I was a rapper, I was a DJ.
Okay.
So yeah, been around the bush, done a lot of things. And that was the easiest way to get in front of more people. You know what I mean? Add more friends, have more people see your information on their newsfeed, must translate into more likes, more shares, more comments, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that's when you start realizing that you've fallen into the trap of another like social media trap. What I like to call vanity stats. And I'm sure other people call it vanity stats. I'm sure other people have other names for it as well. To put it basically, it's chasing the likes, chasing the follows, chasing the views. Basically, being all consumed by the metrics, by the stats on social media. The metrics make the man, 100%. And the same thing, even outside of social media, the stats kind of apply, you know? Like if you wanted to go to a restaurant, say Indian restaurant. I love Indian food. Butter chicken and cheese and
Do
garlic
not say
naan.
food
Oh.
right now.
Yeah. All you can eat Indian, Brazilian barbecue.
Am I gonna have Indian for lunch? Maybe.
Punjab Curry Club up the road should sponsor me. Punjab Curry Club up the road does amazing Indian. Highly recommend. Oh, I forget that you used to live locally. Ignore me.
I mean, I still kind of live
Oh, yeah,
locally.
you, like,
Just
moved,
the
like,
next suburb.
Yeah, you've gone from 2 minutes away to like maybe 5 minutes away or
Yeah.
something like that. Ugh, my bad. Oh yeah, for everyone who doesn't know, Melzy and Jonah just moved. Congratulations!
Yeah, got our own
And to
place.
share extra news that it's not my news to share. Congratulations, Melzy, Jonah, and Sapphire on toilet training.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was
Can't
so
wait to share
good.
that reaction back.
It's so I was like, what are you? I was like, what else have I done?
Like, wait. That was so good.
But yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
That's all
it's
good.
been super good. Just getting into what you were just saying, like obviously, like the metrics make the man. It's kind of like the expectations of what social media was supposed to be for. Granted, who knows? Maybe they did this with this in mind, but like what it was originally designed, which was more blog kind of like tell me about yourself kind of thing, became the metrics.
Yeah.
It's all about the metrics, and it's only in my head, it's only gotten stronger with time. Obviously, and I feel like everyone else would agree, like especially now with like Instagram and all of that. It's likes, it's followers, it's comments, how many people are saving your things, how many people are sharing your things. Like, yeah, it's definitely become more like they said, the vanity stats. It's a hard thing to navigate.
You know what I think's driving it?
What?
Money.
Oh, 100%. Money is at the top of
Money.
everything.
Think
Money
about-
drives the world.
Money makes the world go round.
Literally.
How does it go? Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all.
If
I'm
you
gonna
do
sum it
not
all up.
think that cash rules everything, I want to
Around
live in what world
cream.
you live in because
Yeah.
it sounds fun.
Because we said that in one of our earlier videos as well. It's like, besides the money things, most problems can be like handled by yourself
Yeah.
or with a support network, right?
Yeah.
But it's like Instagram, right? There was a time when Instagram wasn't full of influencers. And again, this is not throwing shade at influencers or anything like that.
It's just what it was
It was
before.
just what it was. It was literally, it was food, bro. It was literally, it was food and beaches.
It was literally
that's it.
my day.
Literally, it was like
my morning.
The filter, like, oh my god, the amount of shade Instagram got for the food filters and the food photos, but that's legit what it was back in the day. It was people taking photos of like nice views, people taking photos of.
It was kind of a vlog.
Yeah, almost.
It was just a vlog.
yeah.
What I'm doing today. I'm at the beach.
Facebook was like the text version, and Instagram was just the image and video version.
Yeah.
But as soon as people realized that, holy shit, this person got 1,000 comments on this photo of the bush, I wonder if I could get him to take a photo of like my cafe that he comes and visits and promote it. And
Yeah.
then that's when other businesses were just like, hey, that's a model we could definitely use. That's way cheaper than our current advertising.
Yeah, rather than like advertising on the sides of bus stations, it's like, let's just get real people talking about it.
I love, because I was going to make you weren't making a joke intentionally, but I was going to make a joke about before Instagram, you had to make newspaper ads because it was like, you're old. Like if you were making like marketing before Facebook and social media, your business is old. You know what I mean? Like that's 15 years now. Like, don't quote me on that stat, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Quote him on it.
Prior to the internet, it was newspaper ads. It was
Billboards, people
bus
handing
stops,
out
leaflet
flyers
drops,
and
yeah.
stuff.
You used to get like drop-ins in your mail and stuff like that. Like,
half your mail was advertising.
yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. It's like while there was some obvious advantages to social media, there have been a lot of negative things that have come from social media as well, especially around that vanity stats thing. Because, and this changes, before we started this conversation, I said this is going to change depending on who you are. But it gets deeper because the mental health reasons and ways you respond to social media change as well on gender. You know what I mean? Like, as a male, I feel like there is not a lot of expectations for me to be a certain way on social media. Again, generalizing. Yeah. Like, no one expects to see me at the gym shirtless and on the beach with basketball next to my 4-pack. But girls, it's a little bit different, would you say?
100%. Okay, I don't know if other girls have heard this. I know I have. But like, have you heard the thing? It's like, it's almost like a green flag in potential guys if they're not super big on social media. Like, if they don't have heaps of following, or like they don't post heaps, it's like, oh, that's a green flag. He doesn't care too much. But with women, it's like almost the exact opposite. Yeah, it's like, if you have no followers, no photos. I mean, for some men, I think that might be like an attractive quality. They'll be like, oh yeah, she doesn't care too much about social media. But it's almost like, why? This is why. This is odd.
Yeah.
Why are you like this kind of thing?
You don't fit the same standards.
Yeah. So it's a weird expectation, like, of not only just like people in general, but men and women have different expectations when it comes to social media.
I would also say on the same thing, you know how you said like green light because he's got a social media account and he doesn't post too much and he's not too, focused on the likes and stuff. Would you say then red flag, he has no social media?
A little bit. It's like a weird thing that's been like, it's an unspoken thing that somehow has been put in all of our brains. Like,
you have social media.
Like, if you don't have social media, it's like, how do people contact you? Are you crazy? Do you have a? It's like if you heard someone doesn't have a phone, you're just like, what?
So do you want me to send you a message via carrier pigeon?
Like, how are we living in the olden days? Like, yeah, it's weird. It's almost like social media has become the metric of a lot of things. Yeah. Especially, like, even if you're a business owner and you're not on social media, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, crazy.
As somebody who is a consumer, you see a business that doesn't have like a Facebook page, you're like, what are you hiding?
Yeah. And what are you hiding? And like, even like little things like, if I can't find you anywhere, I'm like, well, then I'm not going to go there. It's like, what? It's like, I've been conditioned to believe if you're not somewhere on the internet,
you're not real.
You're not real. You do not exist, and I don't trust you.
And that kind of goes into vanity stats for business as well. Because if you have a business, bear in mind that we live in an age now where it is so easy to scam people and to create fake accounts that promise fake things. Even this is giving away my wage bracket. Even Facebook Marketplace scams and stuff like that. People who are doing pay ID scams and all the sorts. Like, it's never been.
Be careful out there, guys.
Straight up, be careful out there. If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Like,
that's your biggest flag.
Yeah, 100%. People aren't going out of their way to help people anymore. That day and age is over.
Someone's selling this like 3-piece lounge piece for only $50.
Not a bargain. And even if it was real, it's a trap.
Why are you 50?
The couch may be $50, but you got to get to that couch for some reason, and you may not leave. So be careful, because people are getting weird. People are getting crazy out there, and everyone's trying to make a buck. Because the same thing can be said with vanity stats in business. If you see a brand new business, knowing that there's all these companies out there that are fraudulent or trying to make a buck from you, that's the only way you can kind of rely on a business being real, is if it's got some sort of likes, it's got some sort of comments on it, some sort of following.
And not even just that, but like, how current are they? Like, if you see a post from like June last year, you're like, huh? So you like almost have to be on top of it all the time.
But in the same vein, and this is kind of where I'm going with the whole, not a lot of posts, green flag, no posts, red flag, right? Red flag, not a lot of reviews, not a lot of comments or anything, nothing recent. Green flag, yes, comments and stuff like that. Yeah. But green flag, I just spent $20 on some bots and they ran up my account and did exactly the same thing that you were so worried about not being real. Now you have no way to prove it.
Yeah,
So to me,
it's
that's the landscape we live in right now. Like propaganda was the big issue back then, and now we're dealing with bots.
and the bots are getting better because you know how like back in the not back in the day, probably like a few years ago, but like you could clearly see the paid bots. You're just like, okay, no one speaks like that normally, kind of thing. But they've gotten so much better where like it's hard to tell what's fake and what's organic.
AI is definitely driving that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like it's such a. I think for me, and if you have a different opinion, then that's fine. But like, I think for me, the biggest thing with social media is it's influenced our sense of urgency. Because like we were discussing just before the pod, like if I send an email, it's okay if they don't reply to me even that day. But if it's like, oh, just get back to me by the end of the day, I'm sweet. But if I send a message to someone and they don't reply for like a day, I'll be like, do you hate me? Like, what's going on?
What have I done?
Yeah, kind of thing. It's like because everything has become so fast paced on social media, there's so much content to consume. You can get through to people instantly, kind of thing. It's kind of affected that time crucial thing where now because it's so easy, I'm expecting it from everyone.
It's almost like connectivity has given us more to self-doubt. You know, it's like knowing that there's so many different things to consume on the internet. You're probably on your phone right now while I've sent you this message.
Yeah.
And you're probably scrolling and browsing right now. So whatever you're doing right now is more interesting than replying to me.
And the thing is, we add all of this meaning in our heads. It could very much be, oh, my phone was just sitting next to me. It could be just, oh, okay, I do this a lot and I'm sorry if I've done this to you. But I'll be doing something on my phone. Someone will message me and I'm like, okay, I'll finish this and I'll reply. And then I just forget. And it's my bad for forgetting. I shouldn't forget these things. But like I said, we like add all this meaning because we're like, but you're on your phone. What are you doing? Kind of thing. It's like everything has to be instant. Yeah. And it's that, I think that's one of the negative effects. It's like it's conditioned our dopamine to be like, if they don't do it instantly, something's wrong. Yeah. It could very much not be wrong.
And that applies outside of like messaging, even just loading a web page or a video or
Patience is gone.
It's gone. Seriously, like there was a time, dial-up days was not that long ago. You know what I mean? Dial-up I need to check our analytics to see what age our viewers are, but I just assume that everyone watching is like teeny bopper age, and that's obviously not the case. But for anybody who does watch this has no idea what dial-up is, basically like there was a period in time where your phone, your internet, your printer were all connected to the same line, and you could only use one of them at a time. And even if it was just you using the home internet, that shit was slow. Like, you think 4G is bad or 5G could use some work? This is like 1G, bro. And this was pre-cellular data days. This was wired home internet connections. That's all you had. It sounded like... I'm going to add the sound over when I do it, but you'll get
it. You'll understand.
You'll see it in post. It'll make more sense. Because it was like we used to be so okay with things taking so long because that was the standard. You know what I mean? That was just normal. And now we have 5G, fiber to the premises thing that we need that information now.
And if you think about it, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like I have to remind myself, you lag for a second or something takes a bit too long. Guys, somehow in the air, this signal is shooting up to space and back down again. But if it takes more than like 3 seconds, we're like, oh, are you kidding me?
This internet sucks.
Are you joking? Do it faster. Go to space and back faster. Like, whoa, give it a minute.
Yeah, it's like, can't send information at the speed of light yet.
Yeah.
But, and that's actually a really good way to put it. Like, the technology involved and how the technology works.
So advanced.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Imagine coming into like medieval times and being like, we're just going to send a message across to some people around the world. Oh yeah, they got it and they sent this back. They're like, magic.
Yeah.
It's magic.
This is a magician. Are you a magician?
Do you
have magic powers?
There's a quote actually, and I'm going to misquote it because I don't know it off the top of my head. But it was like any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And that makes sense because like if you were to say, I don't know, bring a flamethrower over to a village that had never had any outside communication,
Yeah.
and you showed them that flamethrower, they'd lose their mind.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they're running around with like lighters and matches and stuff like that. They're still ground zero with
Yeah.
very, very basic technology. So to see that is like magic. And what we're doing now is we've gone from mail or telegram, you know what I mean? Like to be able to send messages to hundreds and thousands of people at once, all over the world, like in a split second.
Exactly.
But yes, 3-second delay. Oh my God, kill me, please. I need new internet. This is bullshit. I pay $80 for this nonsense.
Yeah.
Crazy. And that's how technology has reshaped our brain and how our expectations. I find myself getting more bored more often because normal everyday stuff is too slow and it's not engaging. And that's not everything. Don't get me wrong. Like I could go sit out in the shed and carve for hours on end. I could go play video games for hours on end. No issues. Read a book, hours on end. Every other general task, washing, dishes, mopping, vacuuming, boring. So boring. It's like, it's going to take me longer than a couple of minutes to do it. Not engaging. There is nothing setting off that like reward pathway in my brain. It is just like, let me get back to social media and media.
Yeah, it's like social media has influenced not even just obviously the crucial thing, but like all of our stimulation. It's like trained us to need that constant stimulation. And so, yeah, it's like all of that kind of isn't the negative effect of social media or like the misuse of social media. Because obviously it's like the vanity stats, like the needing, the likes, the follows, whatnot. But yeah, I think it's definitely, it's been a change and it's been a rapid change. Like social media lasts 10 years? Actually, how old am I? More
Not
than
that old.
I was like, when did I jump on social media? But like, yeah, like especially with Facebook, Instagram, especially.
Because knowing how much an influence it has on adults, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to flex here. I would say that we're pretty on top of our mental health, how things affect us, and how to deal with those things. But my son, Sapphire, they're not going to have that training going in, right?
Yeah.
And we could do the best we can to prepare them for it. We could delay it. We could do all sorts of things to get them ready for social media, but the mind will do what the mind does. Like I'm very much of the belief that our conscious self and our mind are like two separate entities.
Yeah.
Obviously it's not because we only have one brain,
Yeah.
but our conscious self and our subconscious self, right? So it's like, even though you can go in with all this training, all this awareness of what to expect, how they will affect you and how to resolve it or get around it, your brain is just going to be like, blah, 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 give me. It's like sugar, bro. It's like I can sit here and say, sugar is addictive. I can only have it in small quantities. Oh, small quantities. Otherwise, I'm going to get addicted. And your brain doesn't just go, yeah, you're right. We'll be very, very careful with this substance. It's just like,
yeah. Like our brain can just do that for us.
Yeah, exactly. And oh my God, segue, don't worry. I'm not going to bring that up because that's going to take us another 3 hours on the topic. But it's crazy because like, unless there's some sort of like social media reform and like it's really investigated and limitations or something are put in place, all we're doing is creating generation after generation after generation of technology addicts, social media addicts, vanity stat addicts. You know what I mean? It's like, what happens to civilization if our entire society is living in social media and seeks all their validation from social media?
Yeah, it's such a hard balancing act. Like even as a business owner, like, and using social media because you kind of have to. Well, first of all, one, social media is a free advertising tool unless you put money into it. But like, so you just have to be on it. But like, you even start to it's not even vanity stats. It's more, if you're not getting those stats, it's disheartening as hell. It's like, what am I doing wrong kind of thing.
Especially if something like takes off, like something when I don't mean like take off, like it's viral or anything like that.
But just
I
got
say-
a lot more than usual.
I say take off because nobody comments on my shit ever.
Don't worry, neither. Don't worry, I'm the same.
So anything that's more than like 3 comments is taking off, in my opinion. So like when something takes off, like I feel like you and we don't use social media primarily just to view. If we are viewing, we're probably analyzing as well.
Yeah.
Like, why did I stop at this video? What hooked me?
Yeah.
All that sort of shit. But going back, analyzing what worked for your thing that like did well, that tracked well, went viral, popped off, whatever, and then trying to apply the same sort of things or whatever learnings you got from that, and then it just doesn't work.
That's what I mean. This is like social media it's a time crunch. It's like even like with trends, because obviously like with our social media for our business, we try to jump on the trends as well.
Too hard.
It's very hard because not only one do you need to jump on the trend, because one, you need to think how many people are doing this trend, because if it's too convoluted, if there's too many people doing it, you're buried in it. You're not going to see it. Or 2, if there's not enough people, it's like it's not a trend then. Or 3, if you're not in there at the perfect time, trends come and go like daily. So you have to be there like perfect timing.
The other thing too is, how do I apply it to my market? Like, does it fit my niche? Because like, yes, there's a lot of different trends, but can I do dance trends for Dropper Stopper? Yes. Is it relevant? No. It's weird. Again, it's like, yes, you have to juggle. You have to like do all this internal work to figure out if this is worth sinking your time into. And then after doing all of those things and doing everything that you think is right, still misses.
Yeah.
Or it hits and you're just like, yeah, it worked.
Somehow.
So yeah, but more often than not, I'm finding that you either have to be ahead of the trend or very, very, very early to the trend. Because yeah, you're right. TikTok especially, where you see most of those trendy videos, is saturated to the max. There are so many people on TikTok that are probably running the exact same trend in either like niches that fit the trend or don't. But they're still going to be in there. There's still going to be a million people. People who aren't even doing it for a business side are going to be doing the trend. Do you know what I mean? Hundreds of thousands of people doing this trend. So how do you stand out from the market, basically? You know what I mean? Like, if trends are something that you need to follow to go and like boost your metrics and stuff like that, what makes you different from the other people doing those trends?
And that even kind of like leads to the second point that I kind of wanted to make about social media. Again, social media is not all bad. It's just, it is what it is kind of thing. But like, I feel, even me personally, social media has affected how I feel about imposter syndrome as well. Have you heard about imposter syndrome?
I know a little bit about imposter syndrome, not a lot.
It's kind of exactly what it sounds like. Imposter, feeling like an imposter kind of thing.
That's basically what I was going to say. I know what an imposter is. And I know what a syndrome is.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's exactly what it means. And yeah, so it's like kind of that thing, like even if I was going to talk into it like a really basic sense, again, I'm a lot healthier minded now than I was when I was a teenager. But especially when I was a teenager, I felt that imposter syndrome kick in of like, in terms of social media, like if I'm not getting the likes, I'm like, I'm not like everyone else here. Like I see other girls or just other people in general getting this many likes on these types of posts. And if I posted something the same and wasn't getting that, I was like, do I not fit in? Like what's going on kind of thing. And that's even like on a business standpoint as well, like posting similar things as other businesses and not getting the same results. You're like, should I even be here? Should I even be a business owner? Can I hack it as a business owner?
Do I fit?
Having all of those thoughts be influenced by social media, because it's normal to feel those sorts of ways anyways, but like social media has amped that up, especially for me. Just not feeling like I totally fit in anywhere. And that's even like on a larger scale than that like that's for me on social media in terms of business owner, me as a parent, like even just like cultural things. Like I see things of like I'm multi-European Cook Island, but I see things like from all of those branches, and I sometimes feel like I don't fit in because I'm not the exact same, or I don't, not even just like look the same, but like feel the same or know all those kinds of things. And so that imposter syndrome like sets in a little bit.
I think social media would definitely drive that imposter syndrome too, because a lot of, I don't know if it's like just Facebook or if it's other platforms as well, but Facebook especially, is polarizing to the max. Like it's either you fit in this box and you're one of us, or you don't. And that's literally as bad as it is as an engagement trap. You know what I mean? It's people trying to go and find their audience and get them to be like, yeah, 100%, that's me, I agree. Oh no, why are you loud? I'm just gonna turn you off.
How dare you?
I'm just gonna turn you off.
We're in the middle of something.
I know. I don't even know why you.
So unprofessional.
I know, because it is an engagement trap. You know, there's lots of people who will post comments on there and saying, "A good mum will do blah blah blah." Whoa, you know what I mean? Like that's straight up like whoa.
Whoa, okay.
And that's what it is. You're either getting all of the good mums that this fits with, commenting like, yep, that's exactly right. I've been telling people to do this my entire like parenting journey and stuff like that. And then there's the rest of the people who are like, there's more than one type of good mum. There's more than blah, blah, blah. And that drives, I feel, that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People saying that if you're a good mum, you belong in this one. If you're a bonus mum, you should do these things.
Yeah.
If you're cookie, you should be doing this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so, I want to say it's putting people in a box, but I feel like there's a better way to say it. Pigeonholing? It's like pigeonholing people, you know what I mean? It's like saying that unless you fit into these parameters, you're not one of us. And that's bullshit. Because I mean, there's 8 billion people on this planet, and in every single culture and society we have around the world, every single one of us is different. You know, the one thing that we all have in common? We're all made out of stardust, sis. That's it. You know what I mean?
End.
The end.
Nothing else.
That's it. But that's what I mean. It's just like, that is the one thing that unites us all as a race, is that we're all different. Yeah. We all come from the same place, and we're all from the same materials and stuff like that. We're the same species, but our individuality is what makes us. Exactly. You know what I mean? So pigeonholing people into this, like, if you're a content creator and you're not getting at least 2,000 likes on your videos, you're probably not a content creator and you're a casual. Like, bro. Whoa. You know what?
Chill out.
You actually gave me the best advice around, you do. This is like the third or second episode where you're shocked that I've given you advice. Shocked that you've given good advice. Like this isn't something you do on a podcast or something like that.
Cool. People listen.
I was talking early days about episode 1, I'm pretty sure, and asking if you were worried about the views. This is going back to that vanity metrics thing again, because that's me. My brain works out on a
I need to base this off something.
Yeah, time
what's
in.
Success?
Yeah, exactly. Like I spent X amount of time, say 2 hours, doing this video. 14 days. Like, if only 30 people watched it, that means I spent, half a day for one person to watch it. But you said the best thing. You were like, imagine if you had 30 people in the room with you watching that video. And I'm like, oh, yeah, fuck,
that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people to actually be actively watching you speak.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here like, would I ever want 30 people in my house watching me do anything ever? No, fuck that. But for some reason, I want this video to hit millions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like the disparity between like my brain, like reality, and
our ratio is like all mixed up.
And the expectations, it's all coming from those expectations, that imposter syndrome, you know what I mean? It's like you upload your video, right? And you go, okay, cool. That only got 100 views. Only 100. That's a lot.
Again, a lot of people.
My whole mind frame's changed because of that comment. Yeah. But you watching this video, it's got 100 views, it's got 2 likes and no comments, and you swipe up, and the next one's got 1.8 million. 1.8 million likes, and it's been saved 2,000 times, and you just like the gap, you know what I mean? The gap between me and where I'm supposed to be. And when I say supposed to be, because that's the end goal, you know what I mean? To be a content creator, getting in front of as many people as possible. To create and then to share, and because that's all we're doing essentially, is sharing our experiences, sharing our products, sharing everything basically. So to go from 100 to 1.8 million, and then to imagine those same 1.8 million people in your house, oh my god, crazy. But that's where the standards are set, you know what I mean? Like everyone talks about viral videos and going viral, right? It's like, even if you go viral these days, it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? You can go viral and get maybe a couple hundred followers and stuff like that. But followers is just a vanity stat.
Yeah.
Likes is just a vanity stat. You can have 10,000 followers and still only get 200 views or reactions.
Yeah, and I think that's also something with social media is and I think unless you're actually actively looking for it, you don't really pay attention. But it's like the whole followers versus actual engagement. It's like, oh yeah, I may have, say for example, on my Opulence, I have 800 followers, which I'm like, cool.
That's
How
a
many
lot.
people actually engage in my content kind of thing though? Like that's the real metric if you're actually wanting community kind of thing. But we're so fixated on that number, the follower number.
Because that's what people ask.
Yeah.
People don't ask how many people do you
Comment
have
on
in your
your thing.
community.
Yeah.
How many people do you engage with on your posts? That's
Yeah.
not the comment.
Yeah.
The comment is how many views.
And
How many
it's so
likes?
hard to like, because even I have found myself looking at that number and being like disheartened by that number not equaling this engagement. But then actually, like I said, I start to think about it. I'm like, but I actually like, for example, I'll think 800 followers. I only have 5 people that are actually actively engaging, and I'm like, that's still 5 people that actively are engaging in my content. Like that's so cool to me. I'm like, oh, we're actually like having a proper conversation, and they like comment on my things, or like they'll message me topics they actually want to talk about. So like it's that whole, you need to make sure that you're not fixated on the number and more about the impact that you're wanting, regardless if it's for business or personal. Like if you're personal, you just want to share what you're up to, then that should be all that you care about. If you're going into your personal, like, I just want to show people what I'm up to,
Live large.
that's it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I think that's the difference. You know what I mean? People who use social media just as a consumer, I'm just going to call it consumers because that's just the easiest way.
Yeah.
And then people who use it as creators.
Yeah.
Because as creators, it's more than just watching. I said it earlier in the video. It's you're analyzing. You're trying to figure out, why did this video trend? Why did this go the way it went? And then on top of that, as a creator, you have to go, oh shit, how do I schedule all of these ideas and all these posts? How do I make sure that I'm staying on top of all of these trends? And before you know it, you burn out. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's- your whole mind has just become, I want to say a cacophony, but I'm pretty sure that's not the right word. But it's like your brain is just overwhelmed with like all of the things that you need to do, what you should be doing, what you're currently not doing because you're too tired or too burnt out to do anything about it. You know what I mean? And being able to get in front of that and recognize those signs is the difference between people who I feel are doing really well on social media and people who, like me, who have these massive long breaks because they just feel so overwhelmed from the idea. You know what I mean? Do you have any tips for burnout?
Going back to me being kind of type A, definitely scheduling, because like I've mentioned previously, like I not only have my personal social media and we have this podcast, but I actually work in digital marketing, so I'm on social media a lot, whether it's for my job or personally. But I definitely go through those moments where I'm like, I just want to throw my phone away, but obviously I cannot do that. So definitely scheduling has been a big thing for me. Like if I know that I've been too much, I'll just take a break. And I used to feel like, especially like on my business page, and I need to do this ratio a bit better, but on my business page, when I get burnt out, I used to feel so hard on myself when I would take a break from it. But now I'm just like, no, I need this break. Just like you would take a break at work, you need a break from these sorts of things. So I do think that social media detox is always good for you. And I think too, my biggest strategy, and it's easier said than done, but if you just constantly remind yourself this, you have the power to change your brain. Okay. You do have the power. Remind yourself that social media is not real. There are aspects of it that are real. I actually did go to the beach this day, but yeah.
Because the only thing, just jumping on the back of social media isn't real.
Yeah.
The only thing that is real is the things you tell yourself that shape your world.
Exactly.
We were actually talking off camera about this, about absolutes and the other word, dismissive language, right? If you're a content creator and you say, I will never be as good as somebody else, I will never be able to break 2,000 views. That never is a limiting word. You know what I mean? All you're doing is saying that, yeah, you're right, I'm never going to do this. And you've put a barrier in front of your place because all you're doing is self-affirmation that is in a negative sense. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're just taking away like all of your authority to be better and to try harder because the language you've used has basically condemned you.
Yeah.
It's like
And you've
people's
convinced yourself.
literally, and that's all you're doing by saying that sort of stuff to yourself. It's like, I hate doing this. It's like, well, yeah, of course you do. You keep telling yourself that you hate it. The more you like, your actions and your words really do shape the world around you. And I'm a firm believer of that. I try not to deal in absolutes as much as possible.
Yeah.
I'm big on I never or I always, and it's never the case. If you consider the amount of days that you've been alive and all the other variables behind it, always and never is a mathematical impossibility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No such thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no such thing. But you still need to be mindful about like your mental health and how it's like social media especially is like playing its toll on mental health. Because again, as a business owner, we're probably more likely to burn out than just somebody who's a content just consuming the content.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody burning out from watching, you know, too many shorts and stuff like that. But content creators and business owners and stuff like that, 1000%. Like burnout, even outside of job, is just so prevalent in social media. It can happen to anybody at any time, and they just need to be, you know, studying and making sure they're aware of these things.
Yeah, and jumping off that, it's knowing your triggers. It's knowing the signs where you're getting burnt out. And as soon as you know that stuff, well, actually, knowing and being aware is one thing. You actually need to adapt. What was the 3 A's we did a couple episodes ago?
It was
awareness,
acknowledgement, and an adaptation.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, that goes with this as well. It's if you can feel yourself getting negative based on, it could be based on an envy thing, it could be based on a like envy, jealousy, what's the word of, oh no, that is envy, lol. I was about to explain something that was envy. But if you can just feel it's starting to be harmful for you, make the change, adapt to it, whether it is just taking a break or you're just, oh, I need to get my head right around this. Because it's very easy to just fall victim to the whole, these are what these people are doing, why aren't I doing stuff like that kind of thing, even as a consumer. So yeah, just be very aware of how you're feeling after looking at social media, because then there are other things. It could be, okay, I need to unfollow certain people, or I need to unfollow certain types of pages and follow more positive things. Like, just just really sit in your emotion and think, how is this making me feel right now? And is there something I can change, kind of thing.
I like that. Just being able to make space for your emotion and just like process it and stuff like that. Because it really is simple. I say simple because you can't catch it when it's happening. But you can always catch it after it's happened, I feel. When you've had that like post-emotional clarity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, segue to my brain for a second. So yeah, I'm very big on like,
I know what you were going.
with the post.
Yeah. I was like, I can see it. I know where you're going.
I'm like, don't say it. Don't say it.
We'll get cancelled.
Thank you. I'm glad
Don't
you know what
worry.
I was talking about.
I was there.
But yeah, I definitely feel like learning what your triggers are and how to get around your triggers is huge. Because I didn't actually consider triggers from a consumer point. Because again, I spend so much time analyzing other people's shit that I'm not really a consumer anymore.
Yeah.
But even just seeing like scrolling through and seeing other people just doing things you wish they were doing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be necessarily something crazy like, oh, I wish I was going jet skiing or traveling across the world. But like, I wish I could get up at 5 a.m. in the morning and start a gym routine and do all that sort of stuff. Like, while it is good to identify that, you know, your brain is doing like that negative thinking, why me, blah, 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 act on it. You know what I mean? Like, that's the best time. Like,
Use those initial thoughts for something better. Like, for example, like I see something and I'm like, okay, for example, I see someone and they're going for a walk with their kid and I think, oh, I should take Sapphire on more walks. Rather than being like, oh, I'm such a bad parent for not taking her for walks. Just be like, okay, I'm going to schedule in a walk then this week. Yeah, use it like that rather than They always do cool stuff. I do nothing.
Yeah, repurpose the energy instead of just dwelling on it, for
Yeah.
sure. Because yeah, again, like that is the first sign your brain is trying to break through and go, hey,
There's something here.
something deeper I actually feel about this. Let's do something about it. And then I think that kind of comes down to willpower, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being able to like acknowledge, again, two separate entities in your head, and being able to like acknowledge what the other side is thinking and then working towards achieving it. Because a lot of these unconscious thoughts that you're having while you're scrolling through social media are actual real desires, things that you actually want in real life, but you've either pushed away to continue scrolling, or something's come up and has just put it on back burner, and
Exactly.
now you've seen this and it's trying to reinvigorate that passion or that drive to go and do something better.
I really like the way you said that. That it shows what your desire.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Because seriously think about it. Your brain is a thought engine. In one part, it's a thought engine. Besides doing all the heart pumping. And
Yeah, like all the things like keep us alive and whatnot.
yeah, all the blood stuff. Yeah, the brain's crazy. The brain's really, really crazy. But there is always an element of truth to it. You know how people say like drunk minds speak a sober heart and stuff like that? That's essentially what your brain is doing when you're sober, dropping all these thoughts in on you, saying, hey, maybe we should go to gym. Or like, hey, maybe we should sign up for a gym membership. Like, bro, you probably want to do that. There's probably like a large part of you that really wants to do it, and you need that motivation, and it's trying to set that spark for you. It's just about listening and
all the interference as well.
yeah, because that's what I mean. Don't get me wrong. Like, while it is a thought engine, not all the thoughts are good. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like on the.
I wonder if I should just throw this plate over there.
Yeah.
Intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, massive intrusive thoughts. But being able to act on them and, you know, like work with your brain to achieve those things is what's going to set you apart and make you feel a lot better with life and more content as well.
So I think back to what you were saying, like strategies or ways to help. I honestly, my biggest thing is be a proactive social media user. Whatever you're thinking, be active about it. So if you're feeling bad about it, okay, get off. If you're feeling envy, okay, go do something. Like all of that, I think just be a more intentional and proactive social media user. Don't fall victim to all of it.
Speaking of falling victim, it is impossible to be cyberbullied online if you just leave the conversation. Just FYI. Like, that's one thing that trips me out is when people start getting really, I don't want to say worked up or offended, because I do it. I jump into those comments to get worked up and offended. It's why I go on Facebook. But when people sit there and engage and then constantly feel shitty about this conversation they're having, I'm like, it's online.
Yeah.
And not phone.
Exactly. And not even just that, like, you have the ability to feel whatever you want to feel. You do not have to give people the power. Obviously, depends if it's like your mom or someone close to you, that will naturally trigger reaction. But like these randoms,
yeah, block them.
the end. And treat them like a bloody, what is it called? Those salesmen.
Oh,
Hello?
the hawkers, the cold callers and stuff like that.
Done.
Seriously.
The end.
Yeah,
You will not give any of your energy to it, but we give energy to people that want to type.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
weird. The things that we'll do for people on social media that we would not do in person
Yeah.
is crazy. Like, really, really crazy.
and that's like, even for me, like if you think about it, a random person just comes and yells at you on the street. Are you gonna stand there and be their verbal punching bag, or are you gonna be like,
Whatever, crazy.
bye, walk away?
Legit. And again, it's just what we're willing to accept in real life versus what we're willing to accept in social media. The lines have just been grossly blurred. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like if somebody was like harassing me online and going through all my shit and commenting on all my stuff, I would just be like, okay, like, you're
Don't engage
weird.
with me
Yeah,
then.
it's like,
Cool.
if you've got a problem, just don't look. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just scroll on. That's the other thing too. It's like anybody can do the same thing. Like, if you notice that this video is making you feel a certain way, stop watching the video.
Bye.
It's like an old joke. It's like you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, does it hurt when you do this? It's like, yeah, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, stop doing that. It's just like, again,
Guys, you have the power. You have the power to change your world. Okay.
literally. But it does go to the same sense, you know. It's like, it's your world.
Mm-hmm.
It is what you make of it. The language that you tell yourself is the reality that you'll live in.
100%.
If you're
Say it again.
saying
Louder.
the language that you use is the reality that you live in. Okay, so if you're going to be sad and depressive and think sad and negative thoughts, that's going to be your reality.
100%.
If you think the world is out to get you and that things are too hard and you're not worth saving, that's going to be your reality. You need to be louder than the negativity.
Exactly.
Every single time you need to be louder than negativity because it's already loud enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the world is hard enough. Stop being your own enemy.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. Get your brain on side as hard as it is because I honestly...
It's hard.
Yeah. I always refer to my brain as like either a toddler or a puppy. Very short attention span, not often happy with my decisions and wants to do the fun things instead of all the like adult stuff.
Yeah.
But
responsibility.
yeah, but you can manage it and you can work with it so
Yeah.
that you can be on top of that sort of stuff.
Just be more proactive. Be more intentional with how you spend your time, how you let things make you feel, how you feel. And yeah.
And don't be afraid to take time off when you're burning out too. Because honestly, I feel like the worst work, so you do your worst work when you're burnt out. Like if you're giving yourself time to like rest, reflect, and come up with an actual plan, that's going to be way better than you like fumbling through the dark, trying to figure out what to do next is try and stay up to date with everything.
Yeah. And I like burnout. Burnout is like a type of sickness in my head. It's like if you're sick, you're not going to go to work and, I mean, it depends on how sick you are. But if you're really sick and then you want to go to work, you're not going to produce anything good. Yeah. So just take a couple of days off, come back stronger than ever.
Yeah. And I understand like from a content creator side, like they talk about consistency being the key. For people who are worried about like taking a couple of days off work, their content stuff or their business stuff so that they can rest. This is why it's important to have a backlog so that you have like, if you are worried about consistency, I know a lot of people are, I'm not. I'm not. This is why I'm also not succeeding on social media. But I will have a backlog, you know what I mean? Like a safety net. So that if I ever do need to like take time off to do shit, I can just upload a draft, you know what I mean? I've got something that's been sitting in there for 6 months. I'm
throw it up.
I'm going to throw it up. But yeah, just managing those things. I would also recommend to any overthinkers that are watching this video, CBT, Cognitive Behavioral Therapy. It is honestly a game changer for me. Basically just channeling my ability to overthink absolutely everything and remind myself that it's not always doomy and gloomy. So yeah, speak to your professionals if you are having some sort of burnout or if you are experiencing some sort of negativity on Facebook or social media. I don't know why I keep referring to Facebook. I obviously spend all my time there.
Your devil.
Yeah, literally, Facebook is the devil. I think that is the program that made me have like all of my
really?
social media detox. I'm like, I can't do this. But yeah, just being able to stay on top of it, notice the signs, and if you do start noticing those signs, chat to somebody. Leave us a comment. Honestly, leave us a comment. We'll happily have chats with you guys in the comments about that. If it's too personal, drop us a message and we'll have a chat about it through our normal services. But again, not trained professionals. It'd just be general advice, just letting you know. But other than that, I think we've covered everything that we needed to talk about for this episode. We don't have a community spotlight, guys.
Sorry.
Not this week anyway. So we're going to ask anybody who's watching this video, please drop us a comment for a business that you would like us to shout out. It could be a friend's business. It could be your business. If you wanted me to shout out my business, just drop a stopper in the comments. I'll do it again. Sorry. Drop a stopper. But yeah, seriously, guys, we're trying to get as much of the community involved in this sort of stuff as possible. We want to highlight the good work that people are doing out there. Like we were talking about earlier, imposter syndrome is a really big thing, and we want to recognize the people who are actually doing things, hopefully get them out of their head, and yeah, just reaffirm that they're doing the right thing. No need to be worried about anybody else and stuff like that. So drop us a comment. Let us know who you'd like us to shout out in the next episode, and we'll make sure we do our research and get that into the next episode for you.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for our episode today. Thank you very much for joining. This is Reflect and Rise. Take care.
I forgot about it. Oh, goodness.
Reflect and Rise, baby. It's a wrap.